The Galactic Academy. The sleek, silver starship known as the Celestial Voyager glided silently through the vast emptiness of space, its hull gleaming under the light of distant stars. Inside, a group of alien students from various corners of the galaxy fidgeted nervously as they approached their destination, the renowned Galactic Academy. Zix, a bioluminescent octopoid from the aquatic world of Orcs, pressed his tentacles against the viewport, his skin pulsing with a mix of excitement and anxiety. Beside him, Kala, a crystalline being from the silicon-based planet Crystallia, hummed softly, her faceted body refracting the starlight into a dazzling array of colors. "Can you believe we're actually going to study humans?" Zix bubbled, his voice translator converting his underwater speech into audible words. Kala's crystalline form vibrated in response. "I heard they're the most unpredictable species in the galaxy. Some say they're more dangerous than a supernova." From across the cabin, a gravelly voice interrupted their conversation. "Dangerous? Ha! I'll believe it when I see it." The speaker was Grok, a rock-like creature from the high-gravity world of Stonehenge. His craggy exterior belied a sharp mind and skeptical nature. As the students continued their excited chatter, the ship's intercom crackled to life. "Attention, students," came a melodious voice that seemed to resonate on multiple frequencies simultaneously. "This is Professor Lyra. We will be docking at the Galactic Academy in approximately 10 Earth minutes. Please prepare for arrival." A wave of anticipation swept through the cabin. The students had been selected from thousands of applicants across the galaxy for this unique opportunity to study the most enigmatic species known to the galactic community, humans. As the Celestial Voyager approached the Galactic Academy, the students gasped in awe. The Academy was a marvel of cosmic engineering, a massive space station shaped like a dodecahedron, each of its 12 faces housing different educational facilities. The station rotated slowly, creating artificial gravity, while force fields maintained a habitable atmosphere. The ship docked smoothly, and soon the alien students found themselves floating through the zero-gravity reception area. They were greeted by Professor Lyra, a being of pure energy contained within a humanoid force field. Her form shimmered and pulsed as she spoke. "Welcome, young scholars, to the Galactic Academy. You have been chosen for your exceptional abilities and your open minds. Here you will study the most fascinating and terrifying species the galaxy has ever known. Humans." The students listened intently as Professor Lyra continued. "Humans are a paradox. They are physically weak compared to many species, yet they have survived and thrived against all odds. They lack natural defenses, but they have conquered their world and are now reaching for the stars. They are capable of both incredible kindness and unthinkable cruelty." Grok raised a rocky appendage. "Professor, with all due respect, how can a species be so feared if they're physically weak?" Professor Lyra's energy form pulsed brightly. "An excellent question, Grok. The answer lies not in their physical strength, but in their adaptability, their creativity, and most importantly, their sheer unpredictability. Humans have a saying, 'Necessity is the mother of invention.' When faced with challenges, humans don't just overcome them. They revolutionize their entire approach to the problem." The professor led the students through the Academy's winding corridors, passing holograms of human history, from early cave paintings to modern spacecraft. "Observe," she said, gesturing to a hologram of human children playing in a park. "Human offspring, or children as they call them, are particularly fascinating. Unlike many species, human children engage in an activity called play, which seems chaotic, but is crucial to their development." Zix wiggled his tentacles excitedly. "Will we get to observe real human children, Professor?" "Indeed, Zix," Professor Lyra replied. "But first, you must understand the risks. Human children are the most unpredictable of all. Their minds are not yet fully formed, their emotions are intense and mercurial, and their actions can have unforeseen consequences. The group arrived at a large, circular room filled with what appeared to be thousands of floating screens, each showing a different scene from Earth. "This is the observation chamber," Professor Lyra explained. "From here, we can safely monitor human activities across their planet. Your first assignment will be to observe and analyze human children in various settings." As the alien students spread out across the chamber, excited murmurs filled the air. They watched in fascination as human children engaged in various activities, building intricate structures with colorful blocks, creating imaginative artwork, solving complex puzzles, and engaging in physical games that seemed to defy logic and safety. Callus' crystalline form shimmered with confusion as she watched a group of children on a playground. "Professor, why are those small humans climbing to high places and then sliding down? Isn't that dangerous?" Professor Lyra's energy form pulsed with amusement. "That, Calla, is a perfect example of the human paradox. They call it fun, and it's an integral part of their development. By taking calculated risks, human children learn about their physical limitations, develop problem-solving skills, and build confidence." As the day progressed, the alien students found themselves more and more intrigued by the complexity of human children. They watched in awe as a young human solved a mathematical equation that would challenge even the most advanced Crystallian computers. They marveled at the creativity of a child who turned a cardboard box into a spaceship using nothing but imagination and a few crude tools. But it was Grok who made the most startling observation. "Professor," he rumbled, his rocky exterior vibrating with excitement, "I've been watching this group of human children for hours, and I've noticed something extraordinary. They're not just playing. They're innovating. Look at how they modify the rules of their games, how they repurpose objects for new uses. It's as if their entire existence is an endless experiment." Professor Lyra's form glowed brightly. "Excellent observation, Grok. This is precisely why humans are so fascinating, and yes, sometimes feared. Their capacity for innovation, their ability to see possibilities where others see only obstacles, makes them uniquely adaptable. In the face of challenges that would destroy other species, humans have a tendency not just to survive, but to thrive." As the first day of their studies came to an end, the alien students left the observation chamber with their minds buzzing with new information and endless questions. They had come to the Galactic Academy expecting to study a dangerous species, but they were beginning to realize that humans, especially human children, were far more complex and intriguing than they had ever imagined. Zix, Calla, and Grok lingered behind as the others filed out. "I can't wait for tomorrow," Zix bubbled, his tentacles writhing with excitement. "Do you think we'll get to observe human children up close?" Calla's crystalline form shimmered uncertainly. "I hope so, but I'm also a bit scared. They seem so chaotic." Grok's gravelly laugh echoed through the chamber. "Chaotic, yes, but also brilliant. I have a feeling we're going to learn more than we ever expected." As they left the observation chamber, none of them noticed the small, blinking light on one of the screens, a light that indicated an anomaly, a tiny crack in the carefully constructed barrier between the observers and the observed. Little did they know, their studies were about to become far more interactive than they had ever anticipated. First contact. The next morning, the alien students gathered in the Galactic Academy's primary lecture hall, a vast amphitheater with holographic displays floating above each seat. Professor Lyra's energy form pulsed with excitement as she addressed the class. "Today, young scholars, we embark on a pivotal phase of our study. You will have the unprecedented opportunity to observe human children in their natural habitat, Earth." A ripple of excitement ran through the alien students. Zix's tentacles writhed with anticipation, while Calla's crystalline form sparkled brilliantly. Even the usually stoic Grok seemed to vibrate with a mix of excitement and apprehension. Professor Lyra continued, her voice resonating through the hall. "We will be using advanced cloaking technology to remain undetected. Remember, this is strictly an observational mission. Under no circumstances are you to interact with the humans. Is that clear? A chorus of affirmatives echoed through the chamber. Excellent. Now, let's prepare for our journey. The students were led to a sleek, disc-shaped craft called the Shadow Skimmer. As they boarded, each was fitted with a personal cloaking device, a small iridescent badge that rendered them completely invisible. As the Shadow Skimmer descended through Earth's atmosphere, the alien students pressed against the viewports, marveling at the planet's beauty. Vast oceans of blue, swirling clouds of white, and land masses of green and brown came into view. We're approaching our destination, Professor Lyra announced. Millbrook Elementary School, a typical educational facility for human children aged 5 to 11 Earth years. The Shadow Skimmer landed silently in a wooded area adjacent to the school. As the students disembarked, Professor Lyra issued final instructions. Remember, you are here to observe only. Do not interfere, no matter what you see. Human children can be unpredictable, but they are also incredibly perceptive. Stay alert and stay hidden. With a shimmer of light, the alien students activated their cloaking devices and made their way towards the school. The playground was a cacophony of sounds and a whirlwind of activity. Human children ran, jumped, swung, and climbed with seemingly inexhaustible energy. The alien students spread out, each finding a vantage point to observe the chaos before them. Zix hovered near a group of children engaged in a game of tag. His tentacles twitched with fascination as he watched the intricate dance of pursuit and evasion. Remarkable, he murmured to himself. They're simultaneously developing spatial awareness, strategic thinking, and physical coordination. Nearby, Kala observed a young girl meticulously building a sandcastle. The crystalline alien marveled at the child's patience and creativity as she shaped the sand into towers and walls, her small hands moving with surprising dexterity. Grok, meanwhile, found himself drawn to a group of older children huddled around a crude contraption made of wood, rubber bands, and plastic spoons. As he watched, the children made adjustments to their device, arguing and collaborating in equal measure. Suddenly, one of the children shouted, "Ready! Fire!" The contraption sprang to life, launching a small projectile high into the air. The children cheered, then immediately began discussing improvements for their next attempt. Grok's rocky exterior vibrated with excitement. "Incredible," he rumbled softly. "They've created a primitive catapult. The principles of physics, engineering, teamwork, all in what they call play." As the day progressed, the alien students found themselves constantly surprised by the human children. They witnessed acts of kindness, a child sharing their lunch with a friend who had forgotten theirs. They observed problem-solving skills in action, a group working together to retrieve a ball stuck in a tree. They even saw the seeds of leadership emerging as children organized impromptu games and settled disputes among themselves. But it was the children's boundless creativity that truly astounded the alien observers. A simple cardboard box became a spaceship, a castle, a submarine, its purpose changing with the whims of imagination. Sticks and leaves were transformed into magic wands, and mystical artifacts in elaborate games of make-believe. As the school day neared its end, Professor Lyra gathered the students for a brief discussion. "What have you observed?" she asked, her energy form pulsing with curiosity. Zix's tentacles waved excitedly. "Professor, their energy is incredible. They seem to be in constant motion, always exploring, always pushing boundaries." Kala chimed in, her crystalline form shimmering. "And their creativity. The way they reimagine their environment, the stories they create, it's beyond anything I've seen in other species." Grok nodded, his rocky surface grinding slightly. "But it's more than that. There's a resilience to them. I saw a child fall and scrape their knee. There were tears, yes, but moments later, they were back at play, having learned to be more careful but not deterred from their exploration." Professor Lyra's form glowed with approval. "Excellent observations, all of you. This adaptability, this resilience, is key to understanding humanity's place in the galaxy. Now let's return to the shadow skimmer for our journey back to the academy. As the alien students made their way back to the ship, Zix lingered for a moment, watching a young boy drawing with chalk on the playground surface. The child's face was a mask of concentration as he added detail after detail to his creation. Mesmerized, Zix floated closer, his tentacles reaching out instinctively to touch the colorful drawing. At the last moment, he pulled back, remembering Professor Lyra's warning. But in his haste, one of his tentacles brushed against the boy's shoulder. The child looked up, his eyes wide with surprise. For a heart-stopping moment, Zix feared he had been discovered. But the boy simply rubbed his shoulder, looked around in confusion, then shrugged and returned to his drawing. Zix quickly retreated, his heart racing. He joined the others on the shadow skimmer, relieved that his momentary lapse hadn't resulted in discovery. As the ship lifted off, he pushed the incident to the back of his mind, focusing instead on the day's incredible observations. Little did Zix know that his brief contact had set in motion a series of events that would challenge everything the alien students thought they knew about humans and themselves. As the shadow skimmer ascended through Earth's atmosphere, the alien students chattered excitedly about their observations, but a small blinking light on the ship's control panel went unnoticed, a warning that the cloaking technology had experienced a momentary glitch during their departure. Back on the playground, the young boy finished his chalk drawing, a surprisingly accurate depiction of a strange, octopus-like creature with glowing tentacles. The incident, the days following their first observation mission, were filled with excited discussions and analysis for the alien students at the Galactic Academy. They pored over recordings, debated their observations, and prepared reports on various aspects of human-child behavior. However, an undercurrent of restlessness began to grow among them. Zix, in particular, seemed distracted. The brief moment of contact with the human boy weighed heavily on his conscience, but he couldn't bring himself to report it to Professor Lyra. Instead, he threw himself into his studies with increased fervor, as if to make up for his lapse in judgment. One morning, as the students gathered for their daily briefing, Professor Lyra's energy form flickered with an unusual intensity. "Students," she began, her voice carrying a note of concern, "we have a situation. Our observation systems have detected an anomaly." The room fell silent as a holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber. It showed a series of news reports from Earth, all centered around a small town in the American Midwest, the very town where they had conducted their observation. "Mysterious sightings puzzle local residents," read one headline. Another declared, "Children claim to have seen alien creatures at school." Zix felt his tentacles go cold with dread. Had his momentary lapse led to this? Professor Lyra continued, her form pulsing rapidly. "It seems that our presence may not have gone as unnoticed as we had hoped. The human children have been describing creatures that bear a striking resemblance to some of you." Gruck's gravelly voice broke the tense silence. "But Professor, we were cloaked. How could they have seen us?" "That's what we need to find out," Professor Lyra responded. "We're organizing an emergency mission back to Earth. This time, we need to gather information about what the children saw, and, if possible, find a way to divert their attention from the truth." The alien students exchanged nervous glances. This was far beyond what any of them had expected when they signed up for the program. "I'll need volunteers," Professor Lyra announced. "This mission carries significant risk. If discovered, you could alter the course of human history and potentially endanger both our species." Without hesitation, Zix's tentacle shot up. Guilt and curiosity warred within him, but he knew he had to go back. Beside him, Kalla's crystalline form shimmered as she too volunteered. Grok, after a moment's hesitation, joined them. Hours later, the shadow skimmer once again descended towards Earth, this time under the cover of night. The three alien students, along with Professor Lyra, made their way towards Millbrook Elementary School. As they approached the school grounds, they noticed a flurry of activity. Despite the late hour, Lights blazed from the windows, and human adults moved about with purpose. "It appears they're conducting their own investigation," Professor Lyra observed. "We need to be extremely cautious." The team activated their cloaking devices and moved closer to the school. Through the windows, they could see children being interviewed by adults in official-looking uniforms. Drawings covered the walls, crude but eerily accurate depictions of the alien students. Zix felt a wave of guilt wash over him as he recognized one drawing in particular, the chalk creation of the boy he had accidentally touched. Suddenly, a high-pitched sound pierced the night air. The alien team watched in horror as their cloaking devices flickered and failed. "It's some kind of interference," Professor Lyra exclaimed. "We need to leave immediately." But before they could retreat, the school doors burst open. A group of children, led by the boy with the chalk drawing, spilled out into the schoolyard. Their eyes widened in a mix of fear and wonder as they beheld the alien visitors. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. The alien students, their professor, and the human children stared at each other in shocked silence. Then, unexpectedly, the boy with the chalk drawing stepped forward. "I knew you were real," he said, his voice filled with awe rather than fear. "I knew I didn't imagine you." Professor Lyra's energy form pulsed rapidly as she assessed the situation. The adult humans would be out soon, and they needed to act fast. "Young ones," she addressed the children, her voice gentle but urgent. "We mean you no harm. We came to learn about you, to understand you. But our presence here could cause great trouble for both our peoples. Can you help us?" The children exchanged glances, a silent communication passing between them. Then, to the aliens' surprise, they began to move with startling efficiency. "Quick," the chalk drawing boy said. "Follow us. We know a place where you can hide." Without waiting for a response, the children led the alien team around the back of the school to an old, abandoned greenhouse. Overgrown with vines and hidden in shadows, it was barely visible in the dim light. As they huddled inside the greenhouse, they could hear the commotion of adult voices growing louder. "Why are you helping us?" Grok rumbled softly, his rocky exterior betraying his confusion. A girl with bright red hair answered, her eyes shining with excitement. "Because you're the most amazing thing that's ever happened here. We don't want you to get caught and taken away." Zix, overcome with curiosity, couldn't help but ask, "Aren't you afraid of us?" The chalk drawing boy shook his head. "You look different, but you don't seem scary. You look curious, like us." As the sound of searching adults grew closer, the children quickly hatched a plan. They would create a diversion, leading the adults away from the greenhouse and giving the aliens a chance to escape. "But what about the drawings, the sightings?" Kella asked, her crystalline form shimmering with worry. The red-haired girl grinned mischievously. "Leave that to us. By tomorrow, there will be so many different alien stories going around, no one will know what to believe." With a final nod of understanding between species, the children slipped out of the greenhouse. Moments later, shouts and laughter erupted from the other side of the school, drawing the searching adults away. Professor Lyra's form pulsed with a mix of relief and amazement. Quickly, she urged her students, "Back to the ship." As they made their way back to the shadow skimmer, Zix looked back at the school one last time. He saw the chalk drawing boy watching them from a window, a wide smile on his face. Zix raised a tentacle in a farewell gesture, which the boy returned with a wave. Once safely aboard the ship and leaving Earth's atmosphere, the alien team sat in stunned silence, trying to process what had just happened. Finally, Grok spoke, his voice filled with wonder. "Professor, I think I understand now why humans are so feared and respected in the galaxy. It's not just their unpredictability or their creativity. It's their capacity for understanding, for acceptance of the unknown." Professor Lyra's energy form glowed softly. "Indeed, Grok. Today, we came to study human children, but in the end, they were the ones who taught us a valuable lesson. Their openness to the unknown, their quick thinking, and their willingness to help even those different from them. These are the qualities that make humanity a force to be reckoned with in the universe. As the shadow skimmer sped back towards the Galactic Academy, its passengers knew that their encounter would change not only their understanding of humans, but also their view of the galaxy and their place in it. The incident, meant to be a simple observation, had turned into a profound lesson in interspecies cooperation and the boundless potential of the human spirit. Little did they know, this unexpected encounter was just the beginning of an adventure that would challenge the very foundations of galactic society and redefine the relationship between humans and alien species for generations to come. Understanding humanity. The return to the Galactic Academy was met with a flurry of activity. News of the incident on Earth spread quickly, causing concern among the faculty and excitement among the students. The Academy's High Council convened an emergency meeting to discuss the potential repercussions of their discovery. Meanwhile, Zix, Kala, and Grok found themselves at the center of attention, bombarded with questions from their fellow students. They recounted their experience countless times, each retelling filled with a mix of awe and lingering disbelief at the turn of events. Professor Lyra, however, was uncharacteristically quiet. Her energy form pulsed slowly, deep in thought. It wasn't until a few days later that she finally addressed the class. "Students," she began, her voice resonating with a new tone of reverence, "our recent experience on Earth has prompted us to reassess our understanding of humanity. Today, we will delve deeper into what makes humans, particularly human children, unique in the galaxy." The holographic displays around the lecture hall came to life, showing scenes from their encounters on Earth. Professor Lyra continued, "Let's analyze the qualities we observed in these young humans." Zix's tentacles waved excitedly as he spoke up. "Their adaptability, Professor. The way those children quickly formulated a plan to help us escape was remarkable." Kala's crystalline form shimmered in agreement, and their acceptance of the unknown. They weren't paralyzed by fear when they saw us. Instead, they were curious and even helpful. Grok's gravelly voice added, "Don't forget their loyalty. They protected us, essentially aliens, from their own kind. That level of quick trust is uncommon in the galaxy." Professor Lyra's form glowed brightly. "Excellent observations. Now let's explore how these qualities manifest in human history and their potential implications for the future." The holographic displays shifted, showing a montage of human achievements throughout history. From the first use of tools to the moon landing, from the development of penicillin to the creation of the internet, the images flowed in a testament to human ingenuity and perseverance. Humans, Professor Lyra explained, have an extraordinary ability to adapt to new situations and overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles. This adaptability, coupled with their creativity, has allowed them to survive and thrive in diverse environments across their planet. The images changed to show human explorers in various settings, scaling mountains, diving into ocean depths, and venturing into space. Their curiosity drives them to explore the unknown, to push boundaries. Professor Lyra continued, "This trait, which we saw in the children who helped us, is a fundamental aspect of human nature. It's what propels their species forward, constantly seeking new knowledge and experiences." Zix raised a tentacle. "But Professor, doesn't this curiosity also make them dangerous? Couldn't it lead them to interfere with other species or ecosystems?" Professor Lyra's form pulsed thoughtfully. "A valid concern, Zix. Indeed, human history is not without its dark chapters. Their curiosity, when unchecked, has led to exploitation and destruction. However, we've also observed their capacity for learning from past mistakes and striving to do better." The holographic displays now showed images of human conservation efforts, renewable energy projects, and interspecies cooperation on Earth. This ability to recognize their errors and actively work to correct them is another unique human trait, Professor Lyra explained. It's a quality that gives hope for their future interactions with other species. Kala spoke up, her crystalline form glittering with excitement. "Professor, I've been analyzing the data from our encounter. The children's ability to improvise and create a diversion on the spot was fascinating. Is this common among humans? Professor Lyra's energy form brightened. Indeed, Kala. Human creativity and problem-solving skills are often at their peak during childhood. As they grow, many humans strive to maintain this creative spirit. This ability to think outside the box, as they call it, has led to some of their most groundbreaking innovations. The discussion continued for hours, with the students analyzing every aspect of their encounter and comparing it with historical data on human behavior. They debated the potential risks and benefits of further interaction with humans and speculated on how humanity might react to the knowledge that they're not alone in the universe. As the session was wrapping up, Grok raised a point that silenced the room. "Professor," he rumbled, "given what we've learned about humans, their adaptability, their creativity, their rapid technological advancement, do you think they might someday join us among the stars?" Professor Lyra's form pulsed slowly as she considered the question. That, Grok, is the question that has long concerned the galactic community. Humans are indeed advancing at an unprecedented rate. Their technology is evolving exponentially, and their understanding of the universe is expanding rapidly. The holographic displays showed a series of human space exploration milestones, ending with their current efforts to reach Mars. If they continue at this pace, Professor Lyra continued, it's not a question of if they will join us among the stars, but when. And how we prepare for that day may well determine the future of galactic society. The classroom erupted into excited chatter. The implications of this realization were enormous, and each student had their own thoughts on what it could mean for their respective species and for the galaxy as a whole. As the class dispersed, Zix, Kala, and Grok lingered behind, still processing everything they had learned. "You know," Zix said, his tentacles curling thoughtfully, "when we first started this program, I thought we were here to study a potentially dangerous species. But now, I can't help but feel excited about the possibility of humans joining us in space." Kala's crystalline form shimmered in agreement. "They have so much potential. Imagine the advancements we could make if we combined their creativity with the knowledge of other species." Grok nodded, his rocky exterior grinding softly. "But it also means we have a responsibility. How we interact with them now, even in small ways, could shape the future of our galactic community." As they left the classroom, the three friends felt a new sense of purpose. They had come to study humans, but in the process, they had gained a new perspective on their own place in the universe. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but suddenly, the future seemed brighter and more exciting than ever before. Little did they know that their next adventure would bring them face to face with both the best and the worst of humanity, testing their newfound understanding and pushing the boundaries of interspecies cooperation to its limits. As night fell on the Galactic Academy, alarms began to blare. An urgent message was coming through from Earth, and it would change everything. The Great Challenge. The blaring alarms jolted the entire Galactic Academy into a state of high alert. Students and faculty alike rushed to the central auditorium, anxiety and curiosity mingling in the air. Zix, Kala, and Grok pushed their way through the crowd, their recent experiences on Earth giving them a sense of urgency that surpassed even their peers. As they entered the auditorium, they saw Professor Lyra's energy form pulsing erratically at the center of the stage, a clear sign of distress. The room fell silent as she began to speak, her voice resonating with a gravity they had never heard before. "We have received an urgent transmission from Earth," she announced. "A situation has arisen that threatens not only humanity, but potentially the entire galaxy." The holographic displays flickered to life, showing images of a massive asteroid hurtling through space. Gasps echoed through the auditorium as the students realized its trajectory was aimed directly at Earth. "This asteroid," Professor Lyra continued, "is large enough to cause an extinction-level event on Earth. But that's not all. Our analysis shows that it's composed of a rare element that, upon impact, could create a chain reaction capable of ripping holes in the fabric of space-time itself." The implications were clear. This wasn't just a threat to Earth, but to the entire galaxy. The stability of space-time itself was at stake. But surely, a voice called out from the crowd, the advanced species of the galaxy can handle this threat. Professor Lyra's form dimmed slightly. Under normal circumstances, yes. However, the asteroid's composition makes it impervious to our standard methods of deflection or destruction. We need a solution as unpredictable and innovative as the threat itself. Her gaze swept across the auditorium, finally settling on Zix, Kala, and Grok. We need humanity. The room erupted into chaos. The idea of relying on a species that had barely achieved spaceflight to save the galaxy seemed preposterous to many. But Zix, Kala, and Grok exchanged knowing glances. They had seen firsthand the potential of humans, especially human children. Professor Lyra raised her hands for silence. I'm assembling a team to return to Earth. We will reveal ourselves to their scientists and work alongside them to find a solution. Volunteers will be needed. Without hesitation, Zix, Kala, and Grok stepped forward. Their recent experience made them the obvious choice for this mission. Within hours, they were aboard the Shadow Skimmer, hurtling towards Earth at unprecedented speeds. The gravity of the situation had overridden all concerns about maintaining secrecy. As they entered Earth's atmosphere, they made no attempt to hide. Their ship landed in the middle of a busy square in New York City, causing immediate pandemonium. As the dust settled, Zix, Kala, and Grok emerged from the ship, followed by Professor Lyra. Humans gathered around them, a mix of fear, awe, and curiosity on their faces. News cameras broadcasted the scene worldwide. Professor Lyra's voice, translated into multiple languages, rang out across the square. People of Earth, we come in peace and with urgent news. Your planet, and indeed the entire galaxy, faces a threat of unprecedented scale. We need your help. The following days were a whirlwind of activity. The alien team was whisked away to a hastily assembled international task force of Earth's brightest scientists. As they worked tirelessly to find a solution, Zix, Kala, and Grok were struck by the humans' resilience. Despite the shocking revelation of alien life and the impending doom, humanity rallied together with remarkable unity and determination. But as the days wore on, and countless proposals failed to yield a viable solution, despair began to set in. The asteroid was now visible in the night sky, a constant reminder of the approaching calamity. It was during one of these bleak moments that Zix remembered something: the creativity and unconventional thinking of the human children they had encountered. What if, he suggested tentatively, we involved some of Earth's children in this process? The idea was met with skepticism at first, but as all other options had been exhausted, the team decided to give it a try. A global call was sent out, asking children to submit ideas for saving the planet. The response was overwhelming. Millions of submissions flooded in, ranging from the impractical to the ingenious. But it was a submission from a familiar face that caught their attention: the boy with the chalk drawing from Millbrook Elementary. His idea was brilliantly simple yet so outlandish that it just might work. He proposed using Earth's entire arsenal of nuclear weapons, not to destroy the asteroid, but to create a massive electromagnetic pulse. This pulse, amplified by the alien technology, could potentially alter the asteroid's atomic structure, making it susceptible to conventional methods of deflection. The scientists were skeptical, but the alien team recognized the spark of human ingenuity in the plan. With time running out, they decided to take the chance. The next few days were a frenzy of activity as the plan was refined and implemented. It was a true collaboration of human and alien technology, guided by the imagination of a child. As the asteroid entered the optimal range, the world held its breath. The plan was executed. For a terrifying moment, nothing seemed to happen. But then, miraculously, the asteroid began to change course. Cheers erupted around the globe as tracking systems confirmed that Earth would be spared. In the aftermath of the averted crisis, humanity found itself thrust onto the galactic stage. The lines of communication with alien civilizations were now wide open, and Earth was buzzing with excitement about the possibilities that lay ahead. Zix, Kala, and Grok stood with Professor Lyra, watching as humans celebrated their survival and the dawn of a new era. "You know," Zix said, his tentacles waving thoughtfully, "when we first came to study humans, I never imagined it would lead to this." Kala's crystalline form shimmered in agreement. "They continually surprise us. Their strength isn't in their technology or their physical abilities, but in their creativity, their adaptability, and their unwavering spirit." Grok nodded, his rocky exterior grinding softly. "And in their children. The future of the galaxy looks brighter with humanity in it." Professor Lyra's energy form glowed warmly. "Indeed, we came here to study them, but in the end, they taught us a valuable lesson. The galaxy is vast and full of wonders, but perhaps the greatest wonder of all is the potential that lies within every sentient being, waiting to be unlocked." As they prepared to return to the Galactic Academy, now accompanied by a delegation of human scientists and children eager to learn about the wider universe, they knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger world, and the galaxy would never be the same. The story of the alien students who came to study humanity had transformed into something far greater, a tale of two civilizations coming together to face impossible odds and emerging stronger for it. It was a testament to the power of curiosity, creativity, and cooperation, and a promising start to humanity's journey among the stars. As the shadow skimmer lifted off, carrying its mixed crew of aliens and humans, the boy with the chalk drawing watched from the ground, his eyes shining with excitement for the adventures that lay ahead. The galaxy had never seemed so vast, so full of possibilities, and humanity was ready to explore it all.